What's up, everyone? Showdown breakdown time. It's Monday Night Football. Bears at the Vikings in the Dome, but it's Victory Monday as well, as it was a smash weekend for everybody in the DFS Army. Victory Monday!
Good morning! Got a Victory Monday!
There it is.
That just makes you happy, man. I love seeing that.
The best. First of all, Anthony's the best.
Yes.
But, it's appropriate that we use Anthony's Victory Monday on a Victory Monday for Eagles fans as well. What a crazy, amazing game that was.
Crazy. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And I'm going to show some big wins. But, of course, we got Bobbywow here. And I always love to have Bobbywow to break down a Bears game. So we're going to get the goods tonight.
Wow.
That's right.
Yes.
We're lucky. But let me show a couple things from this weekend because this was spectacular, Bobbywow. And I'm just going to go through it real quick. These are just some of the screenshots that came through. Miranda, 120K, going to the World Championships. Congrats, my man. What a lineup. That's a one-off.
That's one-off.
Love it. Love it, Miranda. Good stuff. High top fade, 7K. Only 5 entries in this contest. Fucking nailed it. Listen, Bobby, this is what happens. You said, I'm going to go all in on Josh Allen this week. YOLO. We talked about Gabriel Davis being the guy to pair up Josh Allen with above all others in tournaments. Of course, we love K-Shack as well. Like, those approaches really nailed it.
You talked about Justin Watson. I mean, we go on and on. But
yeah,
you called out just all of it, man, was so
just great gold stuff. Even the running back position, Kyron Williams above. I mean, listen, I had him above Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor did okay, but we all kind of thought Jonathan Taylor, the high ownership, was getting a little weird. Kyron Williams ends up going bananas. Amazing. Check this out. R Shark, 5K. He did it in the mini max. This is $1 entry. $1, $5,000. Nicely done. How about T Bulow? Finally, my man is on the wall of champions now.
Let's go.
Swag bag winner with this FanDuel. Check out the whole ticket right here. Amazing.
That's awesome. We talked about Dortch. Talked about Pacheco with McKinnon out. And he slammed it. That's awesome.
And, of course, Henry, who was my core play. Derrick Henry this week, 2 touchdowns. I wanted to show his ticket because I really love the entry style here. Forget the dollar amount that it's an 888 and a 555. But look at this beautiful ladder. And he was talking about it. He's like, you enter, and there's more to this ladder that you can't see on screen. Here it is, the 222. So it's most money, smallest contest. Slightly less money, slightly bigger. Slightly less bigger. And then when you go in the Millie Maker, it didn't do shit. And that's the thing. This is a lineup that if you threw it in the Millie Maker, you would be like, no big deal. Yet that was worth $12,000 in the first place in a 61-person contest. Really important to understand contest selection. Couple of others. I mean, this was just my channel in Discord on Sunday night. I was like, oh my God, it won't stop. It won't. Hey, even your boy. Last lineup I put in, little handcraft at 1256. I thought that one was fun. All that was left was the chop block. There was no other contest left. These 2 were the last 2 that I put in just before lock. So I thought that was kind of fun. Here's another mega mini max. Just look at the beautiful distribution here. Nice profit. This one was one of my favorite screenshots of the weekend. This is a $1. It's the dive. 117, second place out of 117,000. So a lot of these this weekend. Victory Monday. And we are going to keep it going, Bobbywow.
We are. Absolutely.
Let's break it down. Showdown for tonight. We're going to get right into this thing. We are ad-free on the YouTube channel once again. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If we will keep these shows without the ads, we're close to game time. We got time for that shit. Not time for ads.
No time.
You guys got to hit like so that YouTube will let people know that we're making a video. And that way we don't have to hammer you with ads. Like, I think it's fair. I think it's a fair ask.
I feel like that's fair. Yeah. I mean, look at that. Come on. We got the tree. We got the Bears helmet tree topper. This is too good. Too good.
Wait. Hold up. I didn't even see it. Wait. Oh, fucking Bobby. This is that's the most Bobbywow thing.
Wow. They really gave you a lot of space.
Right there. Like the best. The absolute best. So as I didn't have this queued up to the right game, that gave me a perfect little distraction to go to this. And guys, a reminder that the DFS Army Black Friday / Cyber Monday promo, it ends today. So if you're watching this and you're not a DFS Army subscriber, this is a shot at it. DFS Army VIP, I put the link in the description below. DFS Army VIP, normally $79.99, covers everything, the pick'em, the domination station, all that good stuff. Promo code BF2023, 50% off your first month. That is new users only. So my current subscribers, don't cancel your account. It's not how it works. It's for new users. Plus, if you cancel, your account's still going to be active for a few more days, and you're going to miss the promo. It ends tonight. So nice.
And you know, Geek's checking the list.
Yeah, I know
twice.
I know who does that. This is to bring in new people. See what we're about in DFS Army. We've got to bring in the new blood. We're making winners every day. It's a beautiful thing. All right, so let's get into this, guys. Vikings at the Bears. The Bears at the Vikings, actually. Let's flip that around. And we're going to start on the Viking side. I'm going to try to make the screen a little bit bigger, as you guys have told me that you can't see the writing. So let's talk about the Vikings. Once again, Justin Jefferson not going to play this week.
Not playing.
If you read DFS Up North's notes on this game, he will tell you that Ty Chandler is the better running back between Madison and Chandler, but Madison continues to get, most of the run. So it is what it is. But those two guys are in a closer to 50-50 split than I think people want to believe, as I think Chandler's snaps are going up each week.
Yeah, and it's kind of growing. Like, it's one of those situations we saw last night with Gus Edwards and Keaton Mitchell, right?
Yes.
Keaton Mitchell, far more explosive player. He's the better guy on the field, and we're slowly seeing him eat into Edwards' snaps, kind of getting to that inflection point here with Madison and Chandler as well, where Chandler's that Keaton Mitchell type, explosive, productive running back, and Madison just hasn't done much. So yeah, I think we'll continue to see this get closer to 50-50 again tonight.
And what you said nailed it. Like, there was no last night, it was Mitchell who got most of the run, and Gus Edwards ends up being relegated. So at some point the teams will may just switch it up. So Chandler, a really interesting piece this week. With Jefferson not back, we've got the same trio that have been doing it with Dobbs since he took over: Addison, Osborne, and Powell, with Powell sort of coming on and off the field a little bit, depending on if it's Oliver or one of these other sort of backup turds there. So Powell, though, 60% on the field last week. The targets were there for Powell. It's been KJ Osborne that hasn't been as sort of active getting those targets.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, we've seen the Vikings come out. They're comfortable when they're two tight end sets. They run out Hawkinson and then Oliver or Munt out there, which is why we don't see that WR3 with a high snap percentage. But 60% is notable. And like you said, 14% of the targets last week. He's way priced down on DraftKings, we'll see. And that's going to be one of the better value options we have.
Yeah, Powell's going to be really interesting here for sure. And I think the other important note is, I don't know how much we have to worry about super turds like N'Keal Harry or Jalen Naylor or any of these guys. They're not getting many looks. So I don't think we have to overly concern ourselves with those people. I'm a little more interested on the Bear side. So we'll get to them in a second. TJ Hawkinson seems to be that guy with Dobbs. He'll be extremely popular, I think, on this slate.
Yep.
I think he had 14 targets 2 weeks ago with Dobbs and a ton of targets again last week. So he's been targeted galore.
He's the guy. He's the high floor guy with that ceiling too. He's been a stud.
Yeah. And Josh Oliver is on the field and getting targets. So we can't ignore Josh Olivier either.
And your favorite turd, maybe,
I know,
from previous weeks, is Johnny Munt. Not tonight, though.
He's a touchdown guy.
So they say. There are murmurs.
He's a touchdown catcher, Munt. All right, let's scroll over to the Bears side, which is more interesting from a turdly perspective. So a lot of change happening with the Bears this week. Bobbywow, take me through it. Running back, is it going to be Khalil? Is it going to be Roshan? How does that work?
Yeah, I think Khalil's started working his way back from injury last week. Got a decent chunk of the snaps with Foreman starting. No Foreman tonight. So I think Herbert's going to operate as the RB1. Roshan will be the change of pace back. I still think it's probably 65-35. Herbert to Johnson snaps would be my guess. I mean, Rojo is the more productive guy. He's the better pass catcher, the better pass blocker. But for whatever reason, the Bears just have not given him the reins yet. So I think it'll be a similar situation that we see on the Minnesota side of the ball, where Herbert's RB1, probably ends up with the bulk of the rushes. But, Rojo will see 35-40% of the snaps, and he can catch passes. So both are in play tonight.
Absolutely. Looking at the pass catchers, it's pretty much DJ Moore and then everybody else. DJ Moore coming off a 40% target share. That is bananas.
It's bananas. Fields loves more. He knows how to utilize more. The Bears know that they have to involve more early and often if they want to compete.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Crazy high number. And then the rest of the whole crew are very much sketchy. Darnell, only 5% target share last week. Just a couple targets, maybe 2. And then Tyler Scott and Equinomius St. Brown, both on the field, very little, 35-40%. So not a ton of field, on the field time for either guy. Is there a clear-cut leader, Scott? I mean, do you have a preference? Scott, or St. Brown?
I think Scott's he's the more talented guy. He's the rookie. He's got the speed. He's a deep vertical threat. I'm intrigued by Scott more than normal tonight because he had a big drop last week that would have sealed the game. The Bears would have won the game, and he caught it. He came out and he gave a press conference where he was totally honest. And he owned up to the mistake. Fields loved it. Fields had his back. I think we potentially see Tyler Scott get a couple looks again tonight. So if I'm choosing between those two guys, give me Tyler Scott as like that punt cheap option. He's intriguing.
He's like 200-300, right? Is he that low, or he's 2K?
I think he's closer to 2K. We'll have to look, but he's not down. He's down there.
Yeah. Okay. Trent Taylor, fair to ignore him?
I'm not interested in Trent Taylor. If he beats us, he beats us.
And of course, Cole Kmet does great with Fields in general. Really good. Tunyon and Mercedes Lewis are the third tight ends. Do I have to account for those guys, Bobbywow?
You might have. If you're running 150 lineups out, I would have both in your player pool. We're seeing the Bears. They're trying to protect Justin Fields, right? One of the knocks on him is that his drops are too deep, takes too much time. So they'll run 2 tight end sets out there, a little bit more and more. Mercedes Lewis and Tunyon both play those roles. Both guys are on the field near the end zone. So again, a couple turtly darts in MME, but I wouldn't roster these guys in like single entry or anything like that.
Does look like Mercedes is on the field a little bit more, or at least he was last week compared to Tunyon. But here, Bobbywow, is Chicago, again, remains pretty good against the run. And the Vikings are not projecting to run for many yards at all here.
No, their running game has struggled largely. And part of that is because Dobbs has been so much more mobile than Cousins. So he's opened up some of that rushing. But Madison's been terrible. He's been brutal. And Chandler's more of a kind of like a catch passes guy, I would say. So they have not gotten the ground game going, and the Bears have been very good as of late. So that projection doesn't shock me.
Yeah, just it looks like the Vikings are pretty good against the pass, but less good against the run. Let me look at this on the defensive, the DVP numbers direct here, so we can get the actual metrics. And Vikings defense has actually been just carbon neutral. Like fine. That, I brought a little social justice to it.
There we
Carbon
go.
Neutral.
Beautiful.
They don't do anything. They're just average on defense. Neutral. And then the Bears, I'm going to scroll down here. And the Bears, here we go. So the Bears have been quite good against the rush, allowing 20 fewer yards per game than average, and allowing 30 passing yards above average to opposing passing games. So clearly you want to throw on the Bears, not so much run on them. And so first flag plant concept, if you needed one, would be, I would just avoid Madison here in general.
He's the guy to be underweight on. I fully agree.
Yeah. So it doesn't really stand out. I like Ty Chandler. I like the other guy better anyway. So it doesn't, it doesn't excite me to play. Let's get my cheat sheet going here. Matchups. It doesn't excite me to be playing much of Madison at all. So if we needed to kind of call a flag plant, there it is. So Bobbywow, take us through the captain position options for this slate on DraftKings. Who are your favorites? And of course, we love both of these QBs, couple of pass catchers. Not too many, though. Don't need a ton of options here from what I'm seeing.
No, I think, before we dive into this, one more thing I want to just get your thoughts on. The Bears passing defense has gotten healthier, and as they've gotten healthier, they've gotten better. They're missing Tyreek Stevenson tonight, one of their rookie cornerbacks, but they have all their other playmakers, Jalen Johnson, Eddie Jackson. Is Josh Dobbs going to come back down to earth at some point? Or is this real? Like, is this the Josh Dobbs that we're going to get for the rest of the season? It just feels like, man, maybe not tonight. I'm not saying tonight, but it just feels like Josh Dobbs, we're seeing like the mountaintop for him. And at some point, this is going to come crashing down. Do you feel the same way?
I mean, you're buying high on Dobbs right now. Remember earlier in the year, remember after the first 2 weeks of the season, I was like, Dobbs is a play at QB every week. Right. And he failed week after week after week, like 4 weeks. And I'm like, man,
that's right.
The metrics are saying you could play this guy at 5K, but like it wasn't looking good. And it was kind of making me look stupid a little bit. But then, then of course it turns all around. Dobbs runs the football. He's always in play for a fantasy production, but the passing production, I'm not sure that that's going to hold up. When they face a good defense that's kind of ready, I don't think it's going to hold up. But I think Dobbs is around. I think Dobbs has what I do think about Dobbs, and this is a little longer term dynasty, is I think he solidified himself as, a Ryan Fitzpatrick level gunslinger / guy that's going to be starting on teams for the next couple of years that need have desperation for a quarterback. But no one's going to want to build around him. It's going to be, hey, we need somebody.
And that's not to say he can't do it, right? Like, he's got that rushing upside where he doesn't necessarily have to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns to be a high fantasy scorer. It just feels like, he's coming up against Montez Sweat, who's getting comfortable, Brisker, Johnson, Eddie Jackson, some playmakers, and the Bears secondary. This might be where he runs into some issues in the passing game. That's
certainly something you want to account for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially, we'll see ownerships too. I think that'll help dictate some of what we want to do. But captain options here, I think, Justin Fields, he's the top of the list. This is all about Justin to me. Fanhood or not, bias or not, Justin Fields has the highest ceiling on the slate. He's been one of the best fantasy producers at the quarterback position of anyone over the last 2 seasons when he's healthy. I think that continues tonight. The Vikings don't present any major, scary issues or problems for him. So I think he could continue to get it done, as we've seen, the last couple of games where he's been healthy. I think that continues again here.
Love Fields, love him as a captain. He's almost an all-in play. Just somebody, even if he's not the captain, I kind of want him in the flex. So it's going to be hard to make a lot of lineups that don't have Fields in it, especially on a slate like this where there aren't that many what I would call stud plays available to you. And of course, Fields, 40% of the targets go to DJ Moore. At least they did last week.
Yeah, absolutely in play again. I mean, what last showdown we saw the Bears on, DJ Moore had, 250 yards and 2 touchdowns on 8 passes. So, DJ Moore firmly in play as a captain option as well. I think he and Fields and Hawkinson are at the top of the list for me. Those are my 3 favorites. Hawkinson for the Vikings. And beyond Hawk, I think Joshua Dobbs is probably, like DFSupNORTH has here, he's probably the next best option. He's got that rushing upside like we talked about. And as long as he's running the football, that floor to me is worth captain consideration given what he's done in the passing game. So I think Dobbs is probably top 4 or 5 captain eligible. We don't typically see double quarterbacks or both quarterbacks as captain options, but I think tonight that might be the case. Yeah,
2 running QBs. I like Fields more than Dobbs. And I feel like if Dobbs is getting there, it is slightly more likely that it's happening via the pass. So, I mean, that's where Hawkinson play. And of course, Addison is in there as well. I think you could safely ignore Madison as a captain.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm just ignoring it. I'm not going there. And I don't love Komet as a captain either. I don't think I'll have much of that, but I'll ask you this. Is Bears defense captainable?
Oh man, I don't know that they're captainable. I mean, they are a defense that will bend and not break. That's kind of been their mantra. I mean, they've broken though, unfortunately, but like they will
Bend
make
and
plays.
break and do break.
Bend and break.
When are they not
Yes.
breaking? These guys have won like 2 games. They get break all the
The
time.
defense has been much better. The last
Yeah.
5 games or so have been much better. But that's the thing about them. They could give up a bunch of points, but they've got playmakers that can score. I mean, the secondary is really young and really talented. I don't know that I'm putting them up a captain, but they're definitely in play as a flex option.
And the reason I mention it is, again, it's a reminder that both of these quarterbacks are mistake prone. That neither one of these are what I would call elite quarterbacks. Both of them will be very generous to opposing defenses most weeks. So Dobbs, he's been on a great run. We saw he could be on a great run for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden you almost learn too much of the playbook, and it starts to spin in your mind. The
like honeymoon phase ends.
What's that?
The honeymoon phase comes to an end.
The honeymoon comes to an end, and it's like, the teams were going up against Dobbs, like, we got this knucklehead who just showed up off the street 2 weeks ago. He doesn't even know the playbook, and so they're not like preparing his mind. Now people are like, this is a serious game. We got to get up for it. So that
Absolutely.
is a big thing in NFL football that I think people don't give enough respect to. It's just like sometimes if you're not 100% psyched up for that game, you're going to lose it. I don't care who you are.
Yeah. And one other thing to mention too, before we go on to flex, I think the idea behind Kmet is that, he's a guy that saves a ton of salary. He's had a couple games where he's caught, a touchdown or 2 touchdowns, I think in one of the games this season. And at 6,400, he opens up a bunch where you might be able to fit more Fields, Dobbs, maybe even Hawkinson in the same lineup, at least 3 of those guys. Whereas if you're captaining Fields or Dobbs, you're probably not going to be able to fit the 3 of those guys or 4 of those guys in the same lineup. I mean, that's probably the thought process.
Yeah, it's trickier, of course. And we'll get into like how the numbers come together. But I think a lot of it is you have the stud zone up top here. Fields looks great. DJ Moore, 10-4. Dobbs is fine. Hawkinson, good. So you've got this whole zone of, let's call it 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll call it 5 studs on the slate that are available to us.
Sure.
I'm going to take Madison out of the stud category. Herbert, to me, is not that either. He's just more of a secondary play. Cole Kmet is kind of studly, though, at 6,500. So he's somebody I kind of want. And then so the way it comes together is if you're captaining one of these, you can only really afford 1 or 2 others, and you got to get real down and dirty. So let's talk about the down and dirty plays on this slate and see who's popping. Of course, Cairo Santos, big number kicker.
Big kick. He's been great, man. He has been awesome.
Chicago moves the football, but they sometimes struggle completing the drive, getting in the end zone. And that's where Cairo comes in. He's just kicking those field goals. All good. An actual good kicker. He's actually indoors. So there's a bunch of reasons why kickers indoors. That's a good thing, especially, we're late November.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, this zone is all about, you've got very clear delineation between high floor options and low floor, high ceiling guys. These kickers, high floor options. I feel like both of them are well in play. Cairo Santos is my preferred of the 2. But then you've got guys like Darnell Mooney who have virtually no floor, but a very big play threat, a big play kind of guy who looked great with Fields last season. He could change the slate on one play, but again, he doesn't have that floor that we see with these kickers in the same price range.
I don't think you're going to get a big score out of anybody down here. Once you start to go below like a Bears defense, you're more looking for the 8s and the 12s out of this group. Like
which you want, you'll want the kickers if you're looking for that.
Yeah, I think that's what you're going to be. You're going to be hanging like none of these players. So as I go down the list, I'm just, Josh Oliver. Yeah, he's an active tight end, but he needs a touchdown to get the 10 or the 12 for you. Like he's not getting there on receptions. Brandon Powell, kind of similar, right? Guy who in a good game environment might get 4 targets.
To me, Powell's probably the safest bet at value in this 2K and lower range. He is the WR3, and like we mentioned earlier, he's seeing 60% of the snaps. He's mispriced a little bit. I think they were anticipating maybe Jefferson could be back, and so Powell's priced down almost in WR4 territory, but he'll be on the field a decent amount, and he's been getting more targets than KJ Osborne. So to me, he's the best cheapy option down here.
I like it. And of course, Moon God and Tyler Scott here. I mean, we
Tyler
talked about
Scott,
you prefer Tyler.
I do. I think he's, again, he could get you 0 very easily. But to me, he's that leverage, tournament option that has a ceiling, that has the big playability, who's actually cheap. Mooney's got that. He's pricey. Tyler Scott's 1,200. He's one of those guys you could punt. And I think, there's the potential that he puts up a decent score. So we'll see. He's my favorite punt.
And we went through a lot of these. These are all pretty shitty plays down here. They get the appropriate turd distinction. I think that's appropriate. Let's see how this slate comes together when you actually put a lineup together, Bobbywow. So you take me through this DraftKings sort of sample, mostly 3/4, 5/6 of a lineup build that we're going to do here.
Let's start with Justin, just most expensive guy.
Okay.
Plus, he's my favorite. I think he's both of our consensus favorites across the board.
But I love DJ Moore too. Like, I just like them both.
Yeah.
DJ Moore could get there and surpass Fields so quickly.
And he did last showdown.
Yeah. So Fields, 6,600 left. I usually do it different. I usually go to the punts and then go back up to the stud zone when I'm building. So we already both kind of said we like Cairo Santos. He doesn't perfectly mix with Fields. You want to go Santos here?
I'm probably going
Tisco,
Brandon Powell, and then one of the kickers.
Okay, so Brandon Powell. That's a Vikings player. We'll throw in Santos.
Okay. And now I'm probably going to go, something like Komet, Hawkinson, and DJ Moore if I can get those 3. I don't know that I can get all the way up there, but that's where I would go.
This might work.
Komet, Hawk, and Moore.
It works.
That's probably what I'm doing.
As a matter of fact, this works so well, and I love this lineup, that you could choose between Dobbs or Hawkinson for the last spot.
There you go.
And if we go Hawkinson, you have the ability to squeeze a little more salary at a, and I mean,
you go to Rojo.
Roshan if you want instead of him. So
I still like Powell, I think, but yeah.
Why were those guys turds? Oh my God. Do you see this? You know what? Their fantasy production expectation is turdly. The men themselves, they are not turds. They're
men.
Elite athletes,
talented football players
that and wonderful, probably individuals as well, and nice people, family
role
men.
models.
Yes, but their fantasy production is turdly.
Yes.
Okay. That's the DraftKings. I love this lineup. I like that we gave 2 options on screen. By the way, people ask there's people. Why don't you just give me a line? Number one, you're not allowed to give out lineups on DraftKings. You're not supposed to. DraftKings doesn't like that. They don't like when everybody puts the same lineup into a contest. So we want to just show examples. I usually do it. A lot of what we're doing, showing on screen, I just like to see what it looks like when you start with a very expensive captain, sometimes versus a cheap captain. Bobby, I don't think there's any cheap captain that I'm interested in here. Ty Chandler? Is there anybody?
Komet is probably as cheap as I would go, honestly. Yeah. He opens up. I think you could probably get all 4 of the studs in if you play Komet.
Let me see what that looks like. Before we move on. I'm not in a rush. So you put Komet up here.
And people are calling out in the chat, that's going to be 2% of the lineups. Yeah, that's going to be a chalky lineup for sure. But it was going
to be chalky anyway, by the way. It's not like we figured out we're sitting here in 10 seconds and throw it. It's the most obvious, right? Usually what that is. So you put Komet in there. Moore, Hawkinson. You want Fields. You can't get Dobbs. So
I got
we
to take Santos out.
1, 2, 3 studs.
And you could almost take Santos out, and then
it's still not going to get you
Dobbs in there.
Oh, you can get Addison, and you know what? If I took out
Santos,
Hawkinson, and Santos, you can get Dobbs, Addison, and then you could play basically a super punt. Who's the best super punt?
Oh man,
is there anybody in this zone? No, Tyler Scott. No. We need to get up to 1,200.
T. Scott's probably my cheapest.
Yeah,
the cheapest.
And you can't quite get there. You can't quite get there. So can't play every stud. Darn. Can't play every stud. All right. Reminder: we're gonna do a little FanDuel. So let's jump over to the FanDuel breakdown. I want to show you guys something though before we even break down FanDuel. This content, if you've ever wanted to max out a contest, but you're like, I don't like maxing out or using the optimizer to make 150. FanDuel is literally running a game that is 2 cents to enter. Bobby, I'm not that good with the math, but is this like $3 to max out this contest? $3. Make 150.
It doesn't get better than that. Just do it.
Imagine you put in $3. First place gets 1,000. Now, listen, in fairness, first place is probably going to be split between like 500 people. You ain't getting 1,000. But still, the first place prize is $1,000 on a 2 cent entry. I don't even know how that's possible. So if you've ever wanted to max a contest out and taste what it's like to come in first, I think FanDuel realizes they don't even have enough people to fill 500,000 entries in a 2 cent. They're calling it guaranteed overlay. But like, you know.
But on the other side of that token, like, yeah, you could split, but when you're entering $3 worth of lineups, this is your chance to get unique for a takedown to me. This is where you're punting with guys like Tyler Scott, with Mercedes Lewis as your little turd darts to try and take this puppy down. That's what I would be doing with a 2 cent entry. But either way,
go as non-chalky as you leave $2K salary on the table. Nothing should be chalky about that lineup, especially when you have no care if it wins, because it only costs you $3. All right, so let's take a look at FanDuel and just I'll jump back over to cheat sheet real quick and see what DFS Up North had to say about the captain position. And unsurprisingly, it's Field, it's Dobbs, and it's just those two. With Hawkinson, a nod. And of course, again, you could nod Cole Kmet and DJ Moore here as well, but it's pretty much Fields.
Yes. Fields and Dobbs, yeah.
Or just Fields.
I'm probably 100% Fields on FanDuel, but I'm also trying my best to take my bias out of it. And even with the bias removed, I think I'm 100% Fields.
Is there an easy way to upload all 150 at once in the contest I want, rather than import them all individually after uploading lineups? Of course. Reserve the lineups. Do the edit process. If you don't know how to edit lineups off of the optimizer, off the DOM station, click on NFL on the main page, go to the basic training and click on how to upload and edit for DraftKings. We have a video showing you how to do it. I'm not going to sit here and describe it during this video, but we have a video describing exactly how to do that. If you're in our Discord, ask in the Domination Station room and they'll post the video in there as well. Speaking actually of the optimizer, I want to show you guys something. First, this is the beta version. This is the developmental version of it. This is not the version that members are using right now, but we have added projection boost, the sim rules, to showdowns. So now I'll be able to say, if Justin Fields is in the lineup, increase projection for DJ Moore by 15%, rather than just the basic, if Justin Fields increase projection for, and whatever I want to do, so I can make sim boosts rather than forced locked players.
That's beautiful.
For showdowns. I have been waiting for this.
Oh man,
waiting to get this going. It is a game changer. It's less, actually, slightly. Right now, I haven't thought of how I'm going to use it for this slate. It's much more something I'm excited about for, pocket passers, but there's a lot of different ways we can use those boosts, including if Roshan is in the lineup, decrease projection for Khalil Herbert by 15%. Those kind of things where you can actually set up the lineups to be created like a game simulation rather than with forced rules. It is a game changer for us as well. We've already been taking down all the tournaments, but I think this on all the showdowns, like it's DFS Army, the Domination Station has lived up to its name and dominated showdowns all year long. But this will help. This will make it even better. Huge. And we have it across all sports now. So it's going to be really cool. But I am testing that tonight. And then hopefully by Thursday and the next showdown, it will be on the main Domination Station. So figured I'd mention that. Now,
let's go.
I'm excited.
We
pushed it to all sports. There's another little fix in there that people are going to be like on showdowns where now you can stack by position as well, which we couldn't do before. You had to type all the names. We don't have to do that anymore. We adjusted that as well in this new one. So with that being said, FanDuel, I'm just kind of looking at some of these numbers here and how to get unique, because that's what you talk about. And I think, who are these unique guys that are going to help me win the 2 cent 500,000 entry contest, Bobbywow?
Yeah, I think to me, guys like Ty Chandler, Roshan Johnson, Tyler Scott, and I would say, even to an extent, Darnell Mooney. These are all really cheap guys on FanDuel, touchdown potential that are coming in at 10%. Or, sub 15% ownership. So I think any combination of those guys are interesting on FanDuel. Yeah, and DraftKings too.
Yeah, Brandon Powell at 7,500, but he's going to be popular. I think it's a combination. You got to really get that low ownership going. Looks like
Olivier is out. Olivier's on there as well.
Yeah. Where's Olivier priced?
He's
here
Scott,
it is. He should be very popular, actually. Olivier will be a good play. So you got to get weird. You got to get different on FanDuel to win the 2 cent contest. That's just what it is.
It's just what it is. They made it tough though. Fields and Dobbs are pricey.
I think you play Fields and Dobbs.
Then you got decent salary left.
This is how you play this.
It stinks that you can't play Moore or Hawk. That's tough.
Yeah. I think, but your standard approach, here's how I would do it. This builds itself.
Kicker.
Yeah, it's Komet, kicker. This lineup, this is actually so easy of a cash lineup that actually it won't be good for cash, because this is going to lose.
What?
It's going to tie with everybody.
It just broke my brain. I put my brain in a blender.
Because everybody's going to tie, so you don't win. When the cash lineup is this obvious, it's going to be a tie. And then what ends up happening is one asshole in the contest put in like a non-cash lineup. He takes first, and then everybody else is tied for second, and you just lose money on it.
Oh, that's so weak.
Have you ever seen these cash games?
No.
When it's this obvious, this happens a lot in NASCAR. When the cash lineup is so obvious, everybody has it. Like, you'll be in a 20-man, and 13 of them have it. Then you have your usual 3 idiots who put in a stupid lineup, but one of them ends up winning. Not because of it's a good cash lineup, it's that's how DFS works. And so it pushes the tie group into like the point where you put in $10 and you get back like 6.
Oh, that's terrible.
I mean,
yeah, in that scenario, I probably punt and then work my way to a DJ Moore or a TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
I'll probably, punting, taking Joseph out, punting Tyler Scott or Oliver, and then
bumping up Komet, and then watch Komet get 3 touchdowns, like 2 touchdowns. It could totally happen.
Yeah, this is it. This is the cash lineup to me right here. If people do it, I mean, what are you gonna do, right?
I'm not recommending playing this one in cash, but I would do head-to-heads.
Okay, head-to-heads. There we go.
50-50s here, because you will find bad lineups in head-to-head. So, but it's a very obvious cash. It just fit together too easily. So that's what it is. What team would make the playoffs? A team that is 5-7 and 1, or 6-8? Where is this question coming from? Is this your fantasy league? 6-8 is better than 5-7 and 1.
I thought they were talking about the Bears getting into in the hunt here.
I don't know what this is about. Anyway, Bobbywow, any last thoughts? Do you have any flag plans? Who's that guy that stands out to you on this slate? I'm loading up on this dude. Is it just Fields captain all day? Or is there somebody else? Is it, I like Tyler Scott? Give me your guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm all in on Justin Fields across the board. I think, captain MVP, I have no issue going 100% with him. That's not necessarily earth-shattering news, but I think he's a stud. I'll probably end up underweight on Josh Dobbs a little bit. I think his pass catchers, TJ Hawkinson especially, even Ty Chandler, I think they've got upside to get there without Dobbs getting there. So I'll probably be a little under on Dobbs. And then Tyler Scott, he's my punt. He's who I'm going with as my GPP leverage option. Don't have to go crazy on him, but 20% you get 4x the field. That's where I'm at. I think he's intriguing tonight.
I like it. I don't disagree with anything. I always defer to you and DFS Up North. I mean, couldn't ask for more. We got the Vikings and the Bears. It's like, where is DFS Up North? How did he not make an
I
appearance.
don't know how to make time. Come on, Brandon Powell. Don't forget about Brandon Powell. He's too cheap. So,
Brandon
but
Powell,
he'll be chalky.
By the way, we send the love to DFS Up North, who coaches hockey, which is why once hockey season comes around, he's just not able to be here at these 5 o'clock breakdowns.
And the Minnesota Tundra.
His backyard is the frozen tundra. Like, he lives in a place so far north that you just turn your hose on in the backyard and it's a skating rink in like 20 minutes.
That's where if you had like that old GPS in the car, it goes black. It doesn't know where you are anymore. Once you get like by
it's
his
just
house.
like you're off road, and you're like, no, this is a little town. It's all the way in the north. He's so far up north, they still eat seal blubber as like a main part of their diet over there.
That's true, and use it for the candles where they don't have electricity. Yeah,
it's like a main part of the diet.
Mm-hmm.
Seal meat, whale blubber.
I've heard the same thing. Yeah,
I'm against it. I'm against the harming of whales. Is that carbon neutral? I'm against the harming of whales.
Okay, save the whales, save the turtles, save the whales.
Yeah. No, I love turtles too, but whales, big time. Love the whales. Whales are like people. They have brains. They got personalities. They're smarter than a dog. Like, they are real animals. People don't realize. Don't hurt the whales. Should not eat the whales. They're friends to people.
Don't hurt the whales. Is that true in betting as well?
Public
service.
Trying
to tie this back in a little bit.
What's that?
Is this true of betting whales as well? Like, how do we tie this back in?
Well, the whales at the betting window.
Yeah.
We love the whales at the betting window as well.
We love the whales too. See?
Yeah.
There you go.
Love the whales. Love the whales when they sign up for their sportsbook under promo code DFS Army. And we get a rev share on their action. Those are the best whales. All right. That's going to do it for this one, guys. Remember, if you're not signed up at DFS Army, Black Cyber Monday ends tonight. This is it.
Just do it.
BF, what is it? BF 2023 is 50% off. And you get a month to check it out for cheap. It's worth it. Get access to the domination station. You saw the wins. Those were from this weekend. There's another one coming tonight. And by the way, I didn't even post for the showdown because I didn't even get around to it. There were so many. That's what we're doing. We're helping average Joes compete like DFS Pros and DFS Army. So make sure you signed up. Check it out. We will see you guys. I will see you back here on the DFS Army YouTube channel for the week 1 first look DraftKings, first look FanDuel. We got those coming out tomorrow. Of course, tournament tactics on Fridays. We got another showdown breakdown on Wednesday. So we are going non-stop here. Prize picks and sleeper videos all day, every day. Sign up for those as well. We've got the Proptimizer tool. So everything you want right here in one place. We love you all. Good luck tonight. We'll see you at the top of the leaderboards.